Nityanandam everyone, this is Albert and Kumar. Today we are here at the Nityanandeshwara Hindu Temple in Montclair, California, the Sangha Garden as part of the temple. And today, with the blessings of His Divine Holiness Sri Nityananda Paramashivam, the community has been growing in multiple places, beautiful organic gardening as a community effort. So as part of that effort, we are going to be talking about various gardening tips that we want to share and enrich others to start gardening themselves. So this is going to be the first of a sequence of many videos where we will be talking about various gardening techniques and tips. Today we will introduce some of the basics of gardening, and then in subsequent episodes we will get into the in-depth details of each of the various topics. So today we will give you an introduction, starting with, we will cover the entire spectrum of how anyone can become an expert in gardening. So I have here Albert. He is our resident gardening agriculture expert.
Thank you.
Glad to have him here. So Albert, you don't need to be someone with a green thumb, right? Anybody could become a gardener?
If you want to grow and become a gardener, you can do it. It's not rocket science, but there's a few things you need to know, and we can get you started on that. It's simple to begin, and you can get results right away.
Right. Good. So I know everybody, whether they live in an apartment or a small garden, big garden, anybody could do it.
Yes.
They just need passion.
You want to decide that you want to do it, and then figure out what kind of space you have.
Right.
And the space you have is going to determine what you will be able to grow in that space. If you have a big backyard, you can grow more stuff. If you have a small balcony, you can grow stuff there. Inside your house, by the window, you can grow stuff there too.
No limit.
There is no limit. You
Right.
can get creative. You can grow stuff in the garage, in the front of the house, on the side of the house, or whatever you can, you can do it.
It's all based on our intention, desire, and the effort we put in.
Yes, and it's great to grow your own food. It tastes a lot better, and you can control what goes in it, and you know where it has been. So it's a great way to change your the quality of food you grow and eat.
Right. So Albert, so the first, we are so blessed that we live in Southern California, plenty of sun and everything else. So tell us something about where we live that's so useful and helpful to our garden.
Southern California is very different than other parts of the country where there may be 4 seasons. We have what they call 4 seasons, but it doesn't get too cold in Southern California. We got a lot of sun, and then we have some rain in the winter time. And so in this kind of weather, because the temperature doesn't change way too extreme, too much of a extreme, we can grow lots of different food, and you can pretty much, if you take care of it during the cold time, the winter time, you can grow even tropical foods in Southern California, which is great.
Right. I read with the USDA, our zone is 10A.
10A.
Which is like if we go to the store to buy seeds or any plants, there will be a chart that shows, okay, if you live in this zone, you can plant in this month and so on. So but that's a useful information to have.
Yeah, it gives you the basics of how, when to plant and when not to plant, and you will learn more as you do it. There's a lot of things that you can learn by just going ahead and getting started. But you look in the back of the package, it tells you start indoors or start this month and then plant it, and it takes so many days to grow.
Right.
And it gives you the basics so you can get started and get going with any kind of seed. And if it says don't grow it in the summer, then you wait till it gets cold, and then winter time, and after October you can start growing winter crops.
Right. That's the key. Like especially in Southern California, every season you can grow something.
Yes.
And especially if you have some type of greenhouse or something, even growing indoors near a window where they get some morning sun or evening sun, you can grow the entire year.
You can grow the whole time, yes.
So, Albert, let's next to talk about what can we grow here. We have greens, trees, fruit trees, plants, vegetables, flowers. So what's ideal to grow here?
In the summertime, you want to grow plants that really like the sun, and the carrots do very well if you start in the spring with them. And I'm able to grow carrots even up to today. So those are very easy to grow, and there's plenty of seeds you can grow in a container or in a small piece of land. But you can grow herbs too, like mint and basil, and any kind of herbal that you might like rosemary or any other herbals.
Yeah, especially we've been growing a lot of Indian vegetables.
Yeah.
We can grow very easily various Indian greens like methi, amaranth, gongura, any type of greens that you can think of from India, you can grow that here. And the beautiful thing, Albert, is many of us are growing big trees that you would think that you can find only in tropical areas, like mangoes.
I'm growing papayas right now, and they're doing really well. And in the winter time, I'm going to protect them from the winter so they don't get frost in those cold days, and then they should be able to keep going. I already got like a 3-foot, 4-foot, 2 papaya trees, and I got about 20 small ones that are really excited. Those normally you wouldn't grow in this areas or in the places where it gets too cold. But in Southern California, if you take care of them, you'll be able to have papayas.
Yeah, in one of our gardens, we are actually growing muringai, which is pretty hard to grow. But if you take care of it the first couple of winters with some protection, once it becomes a reasonably tall tree, once the root takes hold, then
you're okay.
It grows into a huge tree.
Curry leaves.
Curry leaves.
Do that with curry leaves.
Mangoes. Even some trees and plants that have a lot of herbal values, like neem trees, betel nut. Neem trees actually can grow really well in our weather here. And of course, vegetables, we can get any kind of vegetables.
Yes.
Within few weeks, as you can see in our garden.
We have radishes growing right now in 2 or 3 weeks, and all kinds of radishes you can grow right away. In summertime, they do really well. Corn does very well in summertime, and the amaranth is growing really fast in our garden here. And it's definitely a squash. Squash grows very easily. Zucchini squash, yellow squash, pumpkin squash, acorn squash, any kind of squash, and cucumbers also do very well.
Right. So we talked about what we can grow. So what's the first thing we need to do in terms of preparing the soil? What do I need to do? Step 1.
First, you want to decide where you're going to plant, and if you have a small plot of land, a small piece in your garden that you decide to plant there, you want to control the type of soil that you're going to have. You can buy potting soil, or if you have good soil already to begin with, you want to just kind of loosen it up enough so that you can start growing within that soil.
Okay, so we need to get some tools to prepare, right? What are some basic tools we would need?
Basically, you need a shovel, some small handling, small shovel just for digging up weeds and stuff like that. You need a rake, maybe a hoe or some clipping for pruning, clipping pliers, stuff like that. You'll be able to tell what you need as you start. But basically, you're going to need a shovel for sure in order to loosen up the soil and move some dirt around. That's you can get a small shovel. Doesn't have to be a huge one. You know, just enough so you feel comfortable to work with it.
I think perhaps one of our episodes is dedicated to preparing the beds and soil, mulching, wood chips and all that. Because don't you think that's a big topic by itself?
Yeah, mulching and wood chips are really an essential part. If you want to grow organic food, definitely you want to use mulch. You want to continuously amend the soil as you do it, and also wood chips. Wood chips are an amazing item to have in your garden because it creates so many benefits, like protecting for insects and also becoming fertilizer. It has a mulching quality, and it amends the soil underneath as time goes by.
Right. So we got the soil ready. How do we plant it? Do we need to always start with the seeds, or what other ways can we start a planting?
You can do some growing of seedlings in small containers inside the house or any area where they're protected and you can water them, you know, on a regular basis. You can start any of those right away in the springtime, like in March, or any time around there. And also you can do cuttings and put them in the different pots, or grow roots and some cuttings like the amaranth that we grow here with some cuttings from the kitchen, and we plant them directly into the soil. So you can start directly with seeds. Squash, that's really good directly on the ground. So if you want to grow squash like zucchini, it's easy to grow directly from on the ground.
But we have to make sure that they are organic, right? So
yes,
can you talk about that?
For organic seeds, you want to make sure that the label says organic and it's FDA. I mean, it has the label that it says it's approved to be organic. And then you want to read the description of it. If it says heirloom, that's even better. If you want to get heirloom, non-GMO. Now, if it says it's organic, it's going to be non-GMO. That's for sure. So you don't have to worry so much about that. But if it needs to be heirloom, most of the time it's better that way. If it's not organic, it's okay. You want to look in the label and say if it says it's a hybrid or not. If it says heirloom, that means it's not a hybrid. But definitely organic. Some of the organic seeds you can order online, and they tend to be a little better. You control the quality. You can go also to the store and find the ones that say organic, and it has the seal that proves that it's organic. So
another way is like many of us are growing plants.
Yes.
We know that it's organically grown, so we can share the cuttings, make small trees from that, and the seeds also. That way we can propagate amongst the Sangha members too,
yeah,
right?
definitely. As you grow more food, you're gonna be able to save your own seeds.
Right.
And the seeds that you save and you grow next year are becoming more acclimated to your environment. So it's they grow even better after a year or 2 years that you keep saving the seeds.
Plus, we also as gardeners get better at knowing.
You learn more.
You
You learn what works and what doesn't really fast.
Okay, so we decide to plant some seeds, some from cuttings, some from saplings. They are beginning to grow. So what are the things we need to pay attention to in terms of maintaining it?
To maintain it, you want to make sure that it has plenty of mulch. Leaves or dry grass, clippings or wood chips are okay. And you want to remove the weeds around the plant so that the weeds don't rob the nutrients from the soil, and the nutrients can go directly for your vegetables and what you're growing. So you want to keep an eye on that. And also you want to harvest as you go. Like for radishes, they get to be very abundant. So you want to take the big ones out and let the other ones have space to grow some more. Same with zucchini, grows really fast. As it gets really big, you want to catch it before it gets too big, unless you're saving it for seeds, because it will grow really fast. And in 3 days, it will surprise you.
How about watering?
Watering, what I usually do is to have a irrigation system that is automatic. It has a timer, and you set it for whatever climate you have. If it's really hot, we have it for 4 times a day, about 7 minutes, 10 minutes, somewhere in there. And you'll know as you see your plants how much time you need. But automatic irrigation tends to be the best. That way, if you're not home or if you're not there, the plants are getting water, they're taken care of. You don't want to overwater too much, but you definitely do not want to underwater. That's definitely not going to help at all.
Actually, growing plants are like growing children. They can speak to you. They can tell you if they're getting too much water or too little water. You can tell just by the leaves whether it needs water.
Yeah.
Or sometimes when you overwater it, you can see the bottom of the plant turning yellow and kind of murky. Then you know that you overwatered it. You can tell.
You're able to tell right away. Then definitely you are able to tell when the plants are very happy. They will be very green, very vibrant, and just very healthy. If they're not healthy, then something's missing.
So how about feeding the plants, fertilizing?
Fertilizing, there's different ways. There's powders, liquids, and also teas. You can make tea from herbals or fruits. You can just take banana peels and soak them in water, or any kind of fruit that you have leftovers. You can soak them in a bucket overnight, and the next day just water your plants with it. That gives some nutrients that they're really looking for. You can also make compost tea. We'll get into that later. But you can also make tea from guano or other kind of fertilizers. Water liquid fertilizers work very well, but there's also powders you can sprinkle around. Want to make sure they're always organic, and for us, we don't use animal products, so we tend to use just the organic material.
The key is we don't need to keep going to the store to buy fertilizer or anything. We can make our own fertilizer.
That's what the mulching comes into play there, because we're able to mulch the area, and that also decomposes, and as it decomposes, it gives nutrients to the plants. We're also growing up a lot of different kinds of beans, and the beans actually have a lot of nitrogen bulbs in their roots, and as we cut the seed for harvest, the beans, we're going to leave the roots there so it can provide nitrogen for the next crop. So you can use the same plants you're growing to compost them and use them as fertilizers as time goes by.
So it's truly is an ecosystem that we are building. That's how the pollination also happens, right? The flowers attract the various insects,
birds and bees, and
kind of thing. So, of course, we need to. Are there any harmless way to keep the bugs and other things away?
Yes, definitely. The wood chips play an important role in this. If we surrounded the whole bed with wood chips, the walkways, the pathways with wood chips, because the wood chips are able to give the insects a place for them to live and not move too much around. They're happy to be there. It also creates bacteria and insects that take care of the other insects that are harmful to the plants. So wood chips have several different benefits, and that's one way we control the amount of insects that are harmful to the plants. Also, we have different ways to treat the plant. If the plant has yellowing because of insects that are really tiny, we can use water with salt. A little bit of salt goes a long ways. We spray them, and that usually will get rid of those insects and give us a healthy plant in return.
Yeah, there are so many ways to keep even the small animals away. We can put little fences.
We can use different plants, like marigolds.
They can actually scare the other.
Yeah, they don't like
away.
that. There are certain plants that have certain smells. Mint is one of them. Actually, most insects don't like mint, so they'll stay away from that. Some other plants like carrots, they don't usually get attacked. We plant carrots all around certain other vegetables that will actually protect them.
Right. So I think everybody got that. Hey, anybody could do it. We will talk more about harvesting. When to harvest. Do you want to talk about how to tell, like especially the root vegetables?
Yeah, the root vegetables, like for example the potatoes, by the time the potato flowers, and if you've never seen a flower potato, you'll know it's a tiny little small white flower, very pretty, and different colors too. When the flower is there, you know that now there's potatoes on the ground, so you can harvest then if you want to, or you can wait until the plant actually dries up. That's very natural. It'll look like a stick, but it's not. It's run its course, it turns brown, it falls apart, and then it's ready for harvest. And for like carrots, by the time it gets a certain height, about 2 feet tall, then it's ready. You can also touch at the bottom to see how big the carrot is. Same thing with beets. You can pretty much tell by looking at the bottom of the root if it's coming out of the ground. For corn, you can see when the silk turns brown and the size of the corn already looks like it's the good size. Then you can start harvesting.
Right. So I think that covers about everything, Albert. We will talk to us about some resources available for people to ask questions or read more about it, and learn more about
it. There's several different places you can look. Kellogg.com has their own website, and they have some videos there. And also, I look a lot into Ruth Stout. Her name is Ruth Stout, and she is the one that grows the type of food that we're growing here in this lot. And she talks about growing food without having to dig. You can check some of her videos. There's a bunch of books available in terms of how to grow organic food, and they're all pretty much really good, and you learn from them. And also, we're gonna have question and answer, and you can email us or text us, and we can answer your questions.
And then in subsequent weeks, episodes, we will get into in-depth about each one of those major topics. And like I said, you can reach out to us, and there are tons of resources online. You can find out, and it's going to be fun. We can do it together, right?
Great. Yeah.
So, thank you, Nityanandam.
Nityanandam.
Happy gardening. Thank you.